I'm joined by Anthony Scaramucci, who's actually been boots on the ground in Pennsylvania. Anthony, I got to ask you what's going on there. But let me start off with this. Donald Trump continues to post over and over again these lies about Pennsylvania. It's like,
The
here we
Stunts.
go again. He's
Yeah.
posting this Pennsylvania's cheating, getting caught at large scale levels, rarely seen before. I mean, this is 100% false. We're also seeing his surrogates like Cernovich posting mail turnout in Pennsylvania for Trump has been a disaster unless this changes. Kamala Harris takes Pennsylvania and it's over. This from Politico. Trump lagging in early vote with seniors in Pennsylvania, a red flag for the GOP. And then finally over here, the gender gap, at least as of right now, about plus 12 in favor of females in Pennsylvania.
Right.
Look, Anthony, you're on the ground there. You were there. You were eating cheesesteaks. I saw your photos. You were knocking on doors. What are you seeing there?
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot going on. So, and I want to be cautiously optimistic, or as people inside the campaign tell me, nauseously optimistic, which I think is going to be the buzzword for the year. So I'm nauseously optimistic because there's three things going on that we should talk about. Number one, the voter turnout. If the differential is 4%, Ben, so meaning there's 4% more women show up at the polls, it's over. The whole thing is over. She'll win all seven of the swing states. Okay, so she won't probably win all seven of the swing states, but she could. Okay, the second thing I think is very important in Pennsylvania. He knows he's in trouble in Pennsylvania because he's like a Shakespearean character, right? Doubt does protest too much. If he wasn't in trouble in Pennsylvania, he wouldn't be putting out these tweets, right? So he knows that. Okay, he also knows he's in trouble in Michigan. The poly markets, even the poly markets, have moved against him in Michigan. So listen, I do a lot of business in London. You can't get a bet on for her in London. So if you put up $9 for Trump right now, you win four. If you put up $4 for her, you win nine. But they won't let you put that bet on. So what's happened is a couple of his oligarchic friends have leaned on the market and tilted the odds. And so their game was, let's use X as a megaphone. Let's have the algorithm set so people think it's a fait accompli that he's won. And this way, Democrats will not turn out to support Vice President Harris. Other thing is, let's make the poly markets move. This way, all the Wall Streeters will get in our camp, or at least not give money to the vice president. Neither one of those things have worked, by the way. So what I found on the ground is a very enthusiastic group of people. And what I found on the ground, that there's another myth or potential lie going on about black men, African American men that I met with, and I did several town hall events. African American men that I met with are voting for her. Okay. And I think the last 2 weeks with the commentary about the garbage, I think that's helping her. And I think the garbage man thing, he thinks it's helping him, and they think they're driving around in the garbage truck owning the libs. But let me give you three quick reasons why that did not help him. Number one, he looked like an 80-year-old man stumbling into the garbage truck. Very, very bad optics for him. Number two, he said to the American public that America is a garbage can, and now he's riding around in a garbage truck. I don't think Americans, by and large, normal, rational Americans, don't want an 80-year-old buffoon calling their country garbage. And then the third reason why I don't think it worked for him is it's a shark jumping. You're not old enough to remember this, but when Henry Winkler was playing Arthur Fonzarelli, they were in their 11th season. They had him in a leather jacket in Hawaii, jumping a shark at a water skiing competition. And so there's a term called jump the shark. What does that mean? We're past it now. Okay. Trump in the McDonald's outfit, Trump in the garbage truck. Garbage should have been put in the back of the truck. He's in the front of the truck. It's sort of shark jumping. And last point I'll make, and I'll compare it to Michael Dukakis. Dukakis got in a tank. He put a helmet on. He was driving around in the tank. He looked like an absolute buffoon. And people looked at him and said, he really can't be president. And I think these images that Trump is presenting in the last 2 weeks of the campaign, plus the rally. Now, I don't call it a Nazi rally, and let me just tell you why. Because when I do call it a Nazi rally, the UK people get mad at me, and the Australians get mad at me. They say it's glib. But I can list for you the things that Trump says that are fascist. Okay, and so I feel like it was it had fascist tendencies. Let's just put it that way. I think that hurt him as well. I think these things, people looking around and saying, this guy's nuts. The vice president's running an organized campaign. She's a healing person. She's opened up her tent. And I think she's going to win. I really do. And it's not me talking the book because I want her to win. I think she's going to win because of the way they're running that campaign. There's no overbite in that campaign. Sorry, just to add that one thing.
Well, and to your point, I think in this final stretch, they're showing that contrast between just normalcy versus, as you pointed, all of these stunts and isn't it just exhausting what Donald Trump did? There's all these other arguments against him, but this exhaustion. One of the things that we've been focused on, especially in a state like Pennsylvania, where Nikki Haley got like 21% of the vote in Pennsylvania in that primary about 6 weeks after she dropped out. So tell us, in your travels around Pennsylvania, had you been speaking? Have you seen Republicans, independents, first-time voters whose voting behavior is different this time around? And did you see that more frequently?
But that's what's going on, Ben. So that's the secret inside the campaign. I don't really want to spill the campaign's tea, but Republicans have turned out, and the Republicans are saying, "Oh, early voting, we're better than we were in 2020." But I just want to point out to everybody, the early voting was made a lot easier here in 2024 than in 2020. As an example, there's a public library about 2 miles from my house. It's open from 8 a.m. in the morning to 6 p.m. You can early vote in the state of New York in my location if you go there. That's simple. It's been open for the last 2 weeks. That wasn't the case in 2020. So the Republicans are like, we've got more people voting, we're blah. But down deep, they know that's not really indicative of what's going on. But you know what could be indicative of what's going on, Ben? The Republicans are early voting, but a lot of Republicans, particularly women Republicans, are voting for the vice president. And I think that's going to be the crosstab analysis when this is over. Hopefully you'll invite me on. It'll be 5 or 6 days after the election. She will have won the election, and you and I can go through the analysis and say, wow, these dummies, they doubled and tripled down. They tripled down on racism. They tripled down on misogyny. They tripled down on cruelty. They were wildly anti-immigration. Even the Wall Street Journal's posting about them wanting to get rid of legal immigration in the country. They literally want to wall the country off and turn it into this like weirdo country. And, I think the people don't want that. I really don't see the people wanting that. And I'll just point out to my friends out there that love other people. I love people. Ben, I know you love other people. Your brothers love people. I don't want a president that talks about non-white immigrants in this country the same way the National Socialists talked about the Jews in the 1930s. I don't want that. So I will work tirelessly, go right to the finish line, run as fast as I possibly can to help her in any way possible. I will be phone banking this weekend. I'll be on the radio. I'll be doing talk radio, local radio in swing states. I'll be doing local television, whatever I can do to help her. I just published, and I sent it to you, Ben. I don't know, maybe you can put a link up. The Case Against Donald Trump. It's a Fortune magazine editorial. I wrote something in the Wall Street Journal in 2016. I said, this man could win. And I explained why. And I was a supporter of him. I got that wrong. I have to own that for the rest of my life. But I think I've paid a lot of penance in the last 2 campaigns by supporting Biden and now Harris. And I just wrote The Case Against Donald Trump, which is literally the doppelganger of what I wrote 8 years ago. This is why he is so bad for the country. He's bad for the economy, massive deficits. He's bad for lower and middle income people. Those tariffs are effectively a 20% sales tax on everything these people buy. It's just going to eat up all their disposable income. He's bad for your family members. He wants to deport people. Ben, people have to understand this. You move to deport people. Okay. Want to go to deport people? We have 1.8 million prisoners in this country. Let's just use that number. Let's say we're going to deport 1.8 million people next year. It's going to cost the American government $88 billion. It'll take about 0.75% off of our GDP. And oh, by the way, a lot of those people are paying taxes because they're working in our economy and they're supporting our Social Security uh, benefits through the taxation. So you want to take those people out of the country because you are a xenophobe, because you hate brown and black people. I don't want that for my country. So I'm going to work very hard for her. I don't want to be overconfident. I love this campaign. It's a totally different campaign than the Hillary Clinton campaign. They're on the ground working, big ground game, lots of money tracking his money. If he throws up an ad in an area, they're in with 3 times the money in the areas. And so I like it, and I like her momentum. Are they making some gas? Sure. The Biden thing didn't help her with the garbage nonsense. He's trying to parse what he said, but anytime you're going to what the definition of is, you're losing. But it's over already. That's already passed. She's working. Her team is working. The ground game is working. Let's punch this thing through to the finish line. But they know, the Trump people know they're losing, and they're getting edgy about it. You're going to see more nutty stuff coming out of the Trump True Social account over the weekend.
A few points to add to what you said regarding some of these Trump stunts. MeidasTouch just did an expose where we identified from Trump's latest ad showing his black voter support, 15 of the 16 random black voters we identified as longtime GOP operatives, candidates, and paid influencers. Yet that ad was featured in an NBC News story. So it's constant whack-a-mole with these stunts that Donald Trump pulls. So
Right.
we called that out. The Wall Street Journal headline says the next president inherits a remarkable economy. The high quality of recent economic growth should put a wind at the back of the White House's next occupant. And then, as Patrick Dillon remarked, what if, and hear me out, I don't know, the current administration had something to do with it. I appreciate the passive voice, but, and then here's another one from Fortune. We led some of America's largest companies. Here's why we are voting for Harris, not Trump. And it's a group of former CEOs. The list is right there, saying we're confident that we are capturing the sentiment of the majority of our peers and the business community as election day nears. We cannot sit by quietly. I just wanted to share those with you.
Yeah, well, the one from Jeff Sonneville, the last Fortune piece, I helped him. I worked on that. I would say about the economy, that's really good news for the vice president because I don't think, and you can check this, some fact checking on me, but I believe it's been 40 years. If the stock market's at an all-time high and the economy's doing well in terms of its expansion, the party that's in the executive branch, that's in the presidency, stays in the presidency. And so that's Harris. And listen, inflation is starting to come down. The problem is it has eaten into lower and middle income people. And I think we have to make one more hammer over the weekend, one more 72-hour blast just to say to people, hey, look, the inflation's coming down, but if you want to really knock the inflation up, allow Donald Trump back into power. Okay, he's going to destabilize NATO. He's going to raise the risk for us from a national security perspective. He's going to weaken our allies. He's going to put a 20% sales tax on your stuff because he wants to wall you off from the rest of the world. And he's unstable. Just take a look at the guy. You got a 78-year-old guy that wants to break the system. I had a scary call this morning. I don't want to give the guy's name up, but he's a very big, very influential lawyer in DC. I did my live show last night in DC with Caddy K. I have a podcast called The Rest is Politics. We did a live show last night. He came to the show. He called me this morning, thanked me for the tickets, but he said, they're trying to break the system. They want to take the FBI, want to take it out of the Department of Justice, have it report directly to the president. They want to take the national security clearances because Donald Trump has a lot of lunatics working for him that actually couldn't get cleared from our national security people, from the national security protocol and process of clearance. They want to pull that out of wherever it is and also have it report directly to the president. Nonsense like this would really damage the system, really hurt the country. So it's not just that he's nuts, who certainly is. It's not just that he's old and somewhat demented. He certainly is. It's not that he's got a bad economic plan compared to the vice president's plan, but he wants to hurt your country. He wants to change the dynamics of your country, and he's in cahoots with Putin. We don't even know why. Esper doesn't know why. Kelly doesn't know why. Milley doesn't know why. I talk to all these guys on a fairly regular basis. Why does he have this love affair with Vladimir Putin? So remember, you're a friend of Israel's. Putin's tied to Iran. Iran is giving him arms to fight in Ukraine. Putin's selling oil through the Iranians with the help in the black markets. These are bad, bad people. Trump, I know you guys could think I'm crazy, but Trump could get in there. He could revoke the sanctions on Putin day one. And then Putin could say to him, hey, you got to help me revoke the sanctions on the Iranians. We don't want that. Okay, we don't want that. We don't want somebody so transactional at the helm, because he's going to look to do deals for himself and line his pocket as an American president. It's absolutely disgusting. And we have to do everything we can, Ben, you and me, other fellow patriots, over the next 72 hours to make sure he never comes back to the Oval Office. We're not going back, man.
Well, here's what we're going to do. And you and I didn't talk about this before this recording, but I'm going to brainstorm it with you right now. Before doing it, I want to remind everybody about your podcast. It's called The Rest is Politics US. It's with Caddy K. Make sure you all subscribe to it, because you get real informed analysis just like this. So here's my thought. You said over the next 72 hours, you're going to be phone banking and doing a bunch of stuff. I want to call it the Scaramucci Challenge. And you have about 3.3 million Meidas Mighty subscribers who are ready to get to work over the next 7. They want to phone bank. They want to write. They want to do whatever. Okay. So I'm going to make you the captain of all of our subscribers, and they will join you in whatever efforts you have. So tell them in the Scaramucci Challenge, we'll make a graphic for this, the Scaramucci Challenge. So they will join you. What do they do? Who do they call?
I would like to get a campaign staffer involved with you, where we send you a link where people can go volunteer. Is that cool? Can we do that? Because I don't have it in front of me, but I'll get it to you before this actually gets blasted out in the morning.
So here's what we'll do. Send us a link, and look, people can volunteer. All I'm suggesting is you're doing this. I'm saying that if people want to join what you're doing, we'll have a link. And then what I want you all to do is in the comments below, let Anthony know if you are joining the Scaramucci Challenge. Put in the comments, I've joined the Scaramucci Challenge. And let us know what you volunteered for, and we'll go from there. Let's do it, okay?
I do love you. Before we go, can I show you my favorite picture in the campaign?
Please.
Probably can't see it from my phone. You see that?
We can see it great.
Okay, that is me in Montgomery County with two of my buds. We're knocking on Trump doors. Okay, and we're asking Trump people, please reconsider, okay? Okay, and I'm taking selfies with people. I'm hanging out with them, and I'm asking them to say, please. Could you please reconsider? Some have said no, but believe it or not, a few of them have said yes. And this to me is, if we win, Ben, and I expect we will, this is the reason why we're out in the field asking for the vote and explaining to people why he is one of the most dangerous people that has entered the body politic since the existence of the United States.
Anthony Scaramucci, thanks for joining us as always. The Scaramucci Challenge has begun. Everybody, please, please, please tell me that you're involved in it. Would love to hear from you. And make sure you subscribe to Scaramucci's podcast at all. We'll put a link as well in the description below there. So thanks, Anthony.
All right. God bless.
Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.